We're fortunate to be joined by Victoria's Minister for Sport and Tourism, Steve Dimopoulos. Steve, thank you very much for speaking to us. This is your first formal visit to India. How has your experience been so far?
Vidur, thank you for having me on your program. It's been amazing. You come to this country and you're enveloped in passion and connection, and it's been very, very fruitful. We've met with many tourism trade partners to promote tourism to Victoria. We've met with sports partners, including the Sports Institute of India, Authority of India. We've had really, really important discussions. There's an instant automatic connection, which makes it easy to do good business in India.
Well, the connection that you speak about, the first thing that comes to mind for an Indian citizen when they think about India and Australia is cricket. And of course, the MCG is central to that. We're getting an India-Australia contest at the MCG again in October. Do we expect another packed house there?
I cannot see any other way. We don't have enough seats. Even 100,000 isn't enough. And we'll get millions of people watching. We got millions of people watching when India played Pakistan. We got millions of people watching at the Boxing Day Test last year. So it's not just the people who pack out the stadium. Can I say, congratulations, big congratulations to India. Many connections between Australia and India, but one common connection at least is we love to beat the Poms, the English, in anything, including cricket.
That's right. So that's a great segue into my next question, which is on the Ashes. Of course, that is Australia is going to host that this year. Australia have been dominant at home when it comes to the Ashes. So I want to put you on the spot and ask you, do you expect another Australian victory in the Ashes this year?
I think we'll be done in 3 days and Australia will win. Well, I've got to say, I'm being a bit silly, but Australia, particularly in relation to England, has been a little bit dominant over the last few years. What I do expect is we have a really fond connection, obviously, with the United Kingdom and in England. I expect a humongous crowd. The Ashes is one of the most iconic clashes. Obviously, for as you grow up as an Australian, one of the most iconic clashes, and it's almost like in the old days trying to beat the big brother, you know, and England was a big brother. I think Australia will win, but what I'm more interested in is thousands and thousands of people enjoying an amazing summer of cricket in Melbourne, the home of cricket in Australia, in fact, one of the global homes of cricket.
Well, one of the great things about Melbourne is that sport is always on. And just a few weeks after the Boxing Day Test is the Australian Open in tennis. We have a huge number of Indian tennis fans as well who will be hoping to travel to Australia. Tell us about how preparations are on for the 2026 Australian Open.
Yeah, fantastic. It starts in earnest around August, September. What the Australian Open tries to do every year is have at least 50% of what you saw last year different, to keep it really fresh. So it's going at pace. It's an incredible event. We hit 1.2 million visitors to the tennis. 1.2 million to the tennis. It's extraordinary, right? This year's one in 2025. The problem is you're getting to those kind of heights where it's hard to break more and more records. So what we focus on through Tennis Australia is the experience people have. But it's amazing. It's one of the best summers. You go from Boxing Day Test to the Australian Open, and then you've got, in March, we've got every festival known to man. You've got the Food and Wine Festival. We've got the longest lunch. 1,500 people sit on one table, long table, and we know how much Indians love food. And the Food and Wine Festival is a big deal in Melbourne. We've got the Fashion Festival, the Comedy Festival, one of the best comedy festivals in the world. In fact, the biggest dedicated comedy festival in the world. And then you've got the Formula One Grand Prix. So literally from December to March, you don't draw breath in Melbourne in terms of major events, not just sport, but cultural events.
Well, of course, Melbourne is a global sporting destination, and that is why you have the NFL regular season game in 2026. But is that something you are exploring in other leagues as well, say the NBA, which has a number of Australian players playing? So is that something we can see in the NBA, an NBA game in Melbourne?
You're well informed. Look, it's hard to broadcast those conversations in the media. Part of the reason we're successful at getting these events and these the licence holders of the NFL and others trust us because we're discreet with how we speak. Can I say about the NFL though? First time ever they will play a regular season match in the Southern Hemisphere.
Wow.
And it's in Melbourne. So we're very proud of that. And there's a big fan base. They say there are 8 million fans across Australia, and there'll be much more after the LA Rams come. And we'll obviously announce in time through NFL who they're playing. We are speaking to a bunch of others. We've got our first, we've got our first NBA match. Well, NBA team. The Pelicans coming to play an Australian team. But what's special about the NFL is it's a regular season match.
Absolutely. Well, of course, Melbourne is a great sporting destination, but recently there was a decision made by the Victorian government where they decided to pull out of hosting the Commonwealth Games. Now, I just want to ask you your position on the Commonwealth Games in general. Was that specifically for the 2026 Commonwealth Games, or are you averse to hosting it in the future as well?
Well, it was a specific decision taken for the 2026 Games, and it was based on the following reason. We always said the Commonwealth Games were looking for a host. Right? We put up our hand, but we said it's on these parameters, and it exceeded those parameters after a while, and so we made the right decision to say we're not doing it. Right? Yes, of course, there were people who were upset about it, but I'll tell you something, and I mean this very sincerely. From the moment we made that decision, we still had a long list of people outside my door and Victorian Government's door to do events in Melbourne and Victoria. It has not harmed our reputation at all. Since then, we've got all these other events we've just talked about. So I think the Commonwealth Games are a good international sporting competition. They just weren't right for Victoria in 2026.
Well, I understand. Well, Australia is also a great sporting nation. You have several top-notch teams, and the 2032 Olympics, something that's not happening in Melbourne, but something that as a nation you will be certainly looking forward to Australia hosting the Olympics again.
Absolutely, and that's so exciting for the country, and through the national government we're all working towards making sure we have, as India wants, many medals represented.
Yes.
And I think if I talk about that for a moment, the Victorian Institute of Sport has had about 40 years of professional high-performance coaching. We, as a state, we punch above our weight, so we get more medals as a proportion of our population whenever Australia is in the Olympics. So we've already started well into the planning of identifying the talent at that age. That could be 5 at this age, or 12, or probably 12 or 13, who might be competitors in multiple sports. We're really looking forward to the Olympics, and Victoria will likely be a training camp for a bunch of different sports, for different nations, not just for Australia.
Well, I think I speak for every Indian, where I hope that Melbourne continues to be a great sporting destination, not just for Indian cricket fans or sport fans, but for the global sport in general, and hopefully India and Australia continue this great tradition of tourism and sporting relations. Thank you very much for speaking to WION, Steve.
Thank you so much, and I've got to say, Indian sport lovers are just as crazy as Australian sport lovers. We have that very much in common. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.